felt disgusted. I felt disgusted with the standing ovation. I felt that Hollywood doesn't have the courage to face the masses. And it really seemed like, oh, this is a very clear sign that we're no longer the cool kids club. And if I told you that one of Hollywood's most unpredictable names just dropped a bomb that connects 3 entertainment giants in a scandal that could be one of the most explosive of all time, Jim Carrey, yes, the same one, who made the world laugh with characters like Ace Ventura and The Mask, would have revealed disturbing details involving Oprah Winfrey Diddy, and none other than Michael Jackson. But we're not talking about common celebrity gossip. This goes much further. It's a network of power, fear, and influence that orbited around a single name, the king of pop, according to this alleged relation. Both Oprah and Diddy lived a mixture of fascination and fear before Michael Jackson, and it wasn't because of the moonwalk or the glittery glove, but because of something much deeper, the feeling that he knew too much, that he was untouchable, that he carried with him a type of knowledge or power that made even the most powerful uncomfortable. And now Jim says the time has come to speak clearly. During an enigmatic appearance on a talk show, Carrey began to give signs that he wanted to expose what really happened behind the scenes in the industry. Between nervous laughter and disconnected phrases, he made it clear people have already awakened. The time of silence is over. It was in that atmosphere of provocation and warning that Jim would have begun to point out something that many suspect, but few dare to say out loud. In recent years, Jim Carrey has distanced himself from Hollywood's traditional circuit. He traded red carpets for painting canvases and began expressing himself more and more directly about the intricacies of fame. And it was in this new stage of his life that he supposedly decided to share his experiences with figures of the highest level, including encounters with Michael Jackson that would have left deep marks, according to the source behind these allegations. Jim claimed that Michael caused unease in the powerful, not only because of the magnitude of his talent, but because of what he symbolized: someone who transcended the system, who played by his own rules, and seemed to always be one step ahead. Oprah, known for her ability to conduct interviews and extract truths, would have felt challenged by Michael on levels she had never experienced. Before it's worth remembering, Oprah interviewed Michael Jackson in 1993 directly from Neverland Ranch. The special was a milestone watched by nearly 90 million people there. Michael opened up like never before about his childhood loneliness, and even about the controversy of the change in his skin tone. The chat was intense. When Oprah touched on the topic of accusations that he wanted to be white, Michael responded firmly, saying he suffered from vitiligo, a condition that destroys skin pigmentation. He affirmed with a broken voice that he was proud to be black and that the speculations hurt him during the interview. He also exposed how misunderstood he felt off stage while performing. He felt alive, but away from the spotlights, he sank into constant sadness. This duality, that mystery he maintained around him, would have left Oprah bewildered. She, who based her empire on authenticity and transparency, would have perceived in Michael someone who couldn't be deciphered, and that, according to Jim, was something that made her deeply uncomfortable. And what about Diddy? In the 90s, he was hip-hop's hottest name, founder of Bad Boy Records, entrepreneur of Biggie Smalls, and central figure of pop culture of the era. But even with all his rise, he never approached Michael's level of influence. According to Jim Carrey, Diddy would have admired Michael, but also feared him, and not because of musical rivalry, but because of what Michael supposedly knew. Sources indicate that Michael had sensitive information, things that, if they came to light, could put careers at risk, including Diddy's. There's no concrete evidence, but speculation revolves around show business secrets, contract backstories, and even personal stories never revealed. And for someone who was already above any system, Michael could keep that information as a kind of invisible insurance. The curious thing is that even after his death, Michael's shadow still seems to haunt the same names. Oprah, for example, mentioned his name again later when she promoted interviews with alleged victims. Of the singer that reignited criticism and debates, many alleged she was trying to rewrite her image, while others said she was only doing what she always did, giving voice to stories. But for Jim Carrey, the issue was never about innocence or guilt. It was about influence, about how much a figure like Michael Jackson made people uncomfortable, not just because of his fame, but because of the type of freedom he represented within a system made to control. And that's exactly what, according to him, still scares. Whether these revelations are real or just theories born from frustration with Hollywood isn't known. But the fact is that Jim Carrey isn't just anyone. And when someone who is already at the center of success starts questioning the foundations of that empire, it's because something somewhere is out of place, and maybe it's time we start looking more closely. But what does Jim Carrey really want with all this? He was never exactly close to Oprah or Diddy, and today seems even more distant away. From traditional spotlights, Jim became almost a solitary philosopher, someone who trades jokes for brushes and satire for veiled accusations. He's been poking at Hollywood elite's egos for years, and now, by putting Michael Jackson's name at the center of the conversation, maybe he's aiming straight at the heart of the system for Jim. Michael wasn't just the king of pop. He was a free spirit, a genius crushed by fame's machinery. This alleged revelation might just be a reflection of Carrey. his own pain, or perhaps a way to throw gasoline on the fire, knowing the public will run to see the flames. Either way, he's painting Oprah and Diddy as two powerful figures who would fear something they couldn't control Michael. And when talking about Oprah, we must remember that 1993 interview was just the beginning. She didn't just talk. To Michael, she also covered his controversies, his trials, and even his death in public. She always showed respect, but according to this supposed account attributed to Jim behind the scenes, the story was different. He says Oprah saw Michael as a risk, an uncontrollable variable, someone who didn't follow rules and could at any moment turn the game against anyone. Imagine Oprah, the woman who ruled American television, breaking into cold sweat over an artist who lived with a chimpanzee and slept in hyperbaric chambers. But for Jim, it made sense. Michael was the inverted reflection of her power, equally giant but completely unpredictable on Diddy. Aside, the fear was more brutal in the 90s. While building Bad Boy Records, Empire Michael was already a monument. Diddy organized legendary parties, but Michael's life was a surreal spectacle full of luxuries, oddities, and secret connections with industry greats. And Jim insinuates, could it be that Michael knew dirty secrets, dark business, maybe even details from Diddy's past that never came to light? It sounds like conspiracy theory, and maybe it is, but Jim has history with Michael. They coincided at events, laughed together, and Carrey even imitated his steps in sketches. He's called him a martyr, someone sacrificed by brutal exposure. Now, with this story, he elevates Michael to an almost mythical level, the only one capable of shaking the pillars that supported Oprah and Diddy. But here's the trick. There are no recordings or public statements, only unidentified sources who assure Jim said all this. It could be fan invention, a well-crafted delirium, or a spark of truth released by someone fed up with the game. The point is, Michael's power was never just artistic, it was symbolic. He was an entity capable of launching an album and stopping the world. While Oprah ruled TV and Diddy reigned in hip-hop, Michael governed hearts and headlines. Oprah couldn't mold him, Diddy couldn't surpass him, and if Michael really knew too much, well, that would be a dangerous ace up the sleeve for anyone, of course. There are those who say all this is exaggerated. Oprah has faced worse storms. Diddy survived scandals that would have sunk others. And Michael, yes, he was eccentric, but threatening. Maybe Jim is just romanticizing a ghost. Since 2009, Michael is absence, and every absence gives rise to myths. Oprah continues expanding her. Empire Diddy now faces problems that make old rivalries seem irrelevant, and Jim is at home painting pictures, smiling crookedly, watching the world. Debate another story that maybe isn't even real, but let's play Imagine 90s Michael at his peak, Oprah in Meteoric Rise Diddy, hungry for power, a scenario where three worlds collide, and at the center Michael with fans who would do anything. For him, an endless fortune and charisma that defied logic. Oprah and Diddy, although they had crossed paths at events and even appeared together at parties, maybe never managed to decipher Michael. He was chaos, and chaos scares those who depend on control, and if at some point he had decided to use his stories, his secrets, who knows what could have collapsed. According to this supposed vision of Jim, it wasn't just fear of the man, it was fear of what he could undo today. Social media is divided. Some believe Jim is telling truths nobody dares accept. Others think he's gone crazy. The public loves conspiracies, and on this bored, Michael becomes the hidden master, while Oprah and Diddy are just pieces trying to survive. And when old rumors resurface like that, one about Oprah's house being raided by police in 2020, and that she would be involved in Hollywood's hidden crimes, everything mixes, everything becomes fuel. Oprah, at the time, denied it with all her might, said it was total nonsense, but doubt was already planted. Today, Oprah remains silent. Diddy is busy with federal troubles, and Jim continues being Hollywood's wild card, the one who drops the bomb and observes chaos with an ironic smile in the end. Maybe all this is just that craziness. A modern fable, but what if? Then, what do you think could it be that Michael really was feared by entertainment's biggest figures? Or could it be that all this is nothing more than another Jim Carrey act on the stage of collective imagination?